everybody, Andy Maher here. Welcome to episode 7 of The Blueprint, proudly brought to you by our very good friends at Hyundai. Joining me, as he always does, former champion skipper Mark Maclure, number 13 on the all-time list of players of the Carlton Football Club. Mate, so close the last couple of weeks against quality opposition, but we haven't got a result. But for one of the rare times in Carlton's history, I reckon we walk away from back-to-back losses feeling a little bit content, not satisfied, but not unhappy with the way our boys have gone about it.
I was pretty unhappy with the Brisbane game. Yeah, and I think they would have been too.
Geelong
game was a very winnable game, and they made some structural errors at the end of the game to finish it off. So there's things that can be fixed. The Hawthorn game, I thought they were just a tad too good for us, but they hung in for a long time. We had a couple of chances to win that game as well, but the other two were much winnable games, and we should never forget that. The ones we could have won. You know, so it's been competitive, very competitive, but we just haven't got the chockies.
No, we haven't. And I think since we were last here, the only win we've had was the Adelaide game. And I think by the time we knocked over Adelaide, we sort of looked at what was to come. We knew we were entering a tough stretch of the season against some quality teams, but we thought we were kind of back in the hunt a little bit now. The cards haven't fallen our way, and final 8 appears like it might be a bit difficult to reach for us just at the minute. But so does our focus change between now and the end of the year?
Absolutely not. We want to win as many games as we can. But what we have seen, Andy, is we've seen some kids emerge.
We have.
We have seen that, and we've seen some kids played 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and you see a difference in their mindset and their confidence in the side and in themselves to get to more contests, to do more things, to be part of a team. And we also saw Juddy come back. That was special.
We'll talk about the kids and we'll talk about Juddy in a moment, but let's start with Bryce Gibbs, who continues to be a talking point for all Carlton supporters. The contract isn't signed yet, but
these last 3 weeks
have been
outstanding. He's been BAG almost on every occasion. His work rate, his run, he's competitive. His contested ball is the biggest in the club at this stage in the last 3 weeks by miles. I think he had 15 on the weekend on Friday night contested ball. It was the largest of anyone on the ground. He kicked 3 goals or something and put us in a position that was, you know, a winnable position. We just couldn't finish it off, and his ball skills are just exquisite.
He's been doing everything.
Yeah, he's a gun, and I think that signing up is imperative. We have to have that done, and it'd be a great loss if we did. We can put Judd together with he and Murphy and
a fit Thomas,
and maybe a Carazzo who can run with some good kids around like Cripps and stuff to learn off these guys. Gee whiz. We might have a midfield and a half.
I don't want to put the fear of God into anyone, but are you worried, before we move on, are you worried that the contract hasn't been signed yet?
Well, you always do, because Ablett said he wanted to stay, and so did Buddy Franklin said he wanted to stay, and I think that Gibbs will stay. I think he's a pretty honest kid. This is the best football he's ever played for this football club, I tell you, and I think he can get better.
It's going to be a big decision for the new board, whether it's the 4 or 5 years. It seems to be the sticking point, and if it is the 5th year, then the new board's going to have a decision to make about that. You talked about some of the kids who are getting some extended game time in the last few weeks, and Levi Casbolt appears to be the beneficiary of that to a large degree.
Look at this. He would never have done this before, lead into an area like that. He would have left that for someone else because he wasn't confident in himself. And then he goes back, and then look at this mark in the goal square amongst a pack of players. That is just spectacular for anybody to see. And Casbolt's confidence rises again. You know, to take a mark like this and really stand on the head of a few people, crash a pack and obliterate them, and then finish it is one of the real keys to our game. And again, he just pushed Spang around the way. He said, "See you later, you're not strong enough," and finished it off again with a lovely kick. He's got a little arc that he pulled out. We talked to Robbie Wiley last time he was in. He said, "We're working on his confidence. We're working on how he moves and kicks the ball, because sometimes he tries to run straight. We pushed him around to do a little arc, and it seems to have worked."
I reckon it's made a massive difference. I wonder whether he was so conscious of straight lines when he's running in and getting everything perfect that he was thinking about that the whole way through. Now he seems to be thinking, particularly on Friday night, he seems to be thinking about that arc more, and it takes. I wonder whether it takes his mind off actually
just kick the ball,
the execution of kicking the ball, and as a result, we saw him kick the ball beautifully. You know,
everyone's got a different goal swing, mate.
Well, they have, and having an arc doesn't worry Lance Franklin. Not that we're putting Levi at this stage in that. We're so hell bent on getting a key forward into the club. We need to go and get one, and why haven't we gone? We might have one. I mean, he might be one that we can build a forward line around, sort of add a few around the edges, get a bit of natural development from 1 or 2 that are on the list already, and who knows?
It's a good thing. We look at Cruiser when he comes back. Where does he play? Because Warnock's been really good in the ruck, and Casbolt's been a pretty good backup for him in that area. probably. I'm not certain what we're going to do with Cruiser in those sorts of areas because he wants to play in the ruck. But is he as good as Warnock? I'm not certain.
Oh, he's a different type of ruckman, isn't he? It's going to be a balancing act to work out how they play all that out when Cruiser is ready for selection, probably in 2015 by the looks of it. Chris Judd, no one forgets how great a player he is, but he just reminded us straight away. I mean, this is 20 seconds into the game. Lays the tackle, and then look what. Just keep your eye on him. He's got Isaac Smith on his hammer here.
Yeah. Just blows him.
It's William Shields, actually. Look at the way he just burns him off.
Yeah, blows him away. And then the kick to finish off was a great kick. You know, straight into the forward line. Then Juddy on the right foot again, and this kick to a contest, and you can see again Casbolt's power there. And then look again, he gets it again, another handball off. Understanding of the game is unquestioned. Another kick, and you watch the backup run again. This is the key to him. He goes from one contest to the next contest to the next contest, and he just continues to blow people away with his power and speed, and he's nous of the game. It was special the other night. That was a very special cameo he put in.
His explosion away from contest was reminiscent of the Chris Judd of old, and you know, we think about where we're at now and 4 and 8 or whatever it is that we're sitting on the AFL. We haven't had Chris Judd for most of the season, and we've had Dale Thomas operating on 75% there, and he's going to get better in the second half. Yeah. You know what?
He was very good the other night.
He was.
Saturday night.
His last 2 or 3, there's been glimpses, I reckon. Oh, well, I'll talk to you about. I want to talk to you about that in a minute. But you know what? I know whether Juddy's got 9 games left in him or whether he's got another season to go. I don't think Chris Judd's made up his mind about that just yet. But
I hope he has, because I think he wants. I'd love him to stay because the development of our kids depends on him. I think his leadership around the place was unquestioned the other night. Yeah. We wouldn't have been in that game without him there.
I'd like to see a year, one season, if we can get one season of Judd and Thomas with sound pre-seasons under them, bodies in good nick. 1 year with the 2 of them together, I reckon, would be interesting. It'd be a fantastic development tool for for the Crippses and the Grahams and the young midfielders on the list. It'd be great to see. You mentioned the 150th. Well, you didn't mention the 150th. You mentioned Dale Thomas, and the 150th celebration was a great night the other night down there at the plenary at the convention centre. Over 2,000 people there.
There he is, the president, Stephen Kernahan, got up to speak. Everyone stood up. It was a standing ovation for him. I think he's done a very good job with our footy club at difficult times. They've made lots of decisions. This is Wayne Johnson. Who one of the things, I don't know what he spoke about, but and there's Big Nick, the #1 player for our football club, unquestioned really in that area. I think there's no one can question that sort of area as well. And the entertainment, well, how good was that?
It was magnificent. No, look, everybody at the club who had a hand in putting this together absolutely deserves a massive pat on the back. This was a gigantic event, and there was a lot to get through. The way they managed to stay on track throughout the night and on time was a miracle. There's confirmation the top 5.
Played with every one of those.
Commiserations.
No, I just missed out. Missed out by about 100, I think. Anyway, but
you played with them all.
Played with every one of those players.
So was your first year Nick's last year? Was it
74?
Yeah, okay.
And then I played with Kernahan in the last year and Silvani as well.
I didn't mind. Jono was on SEN on Saturday morning on Crunch Time, and he's talking about he didn't like numbers. He didn't like putting like ranking things, and it was all part of the night. It just creates conversation and all the rest of it. But when you see the calibre of the players, particularly the guys from 6 to 12 who also were ranked as part of the night, it's hard to line them up, isn't it?
Like, I did have a funny occasion there. A couple of blokes came up to me and said, "Do you remember me?" I went, gee whiz, can't remember you. Can you remember me? Yeah, we know, yeah. It was a guy called John Tresize, who came from Bendigo. Bendigo guy, and he played a couple of years there. And he's changed. He had beautiful hair and wavy and all. He got nothing on it, you know, like he's put on a little bit. He's put on a few kilos like some others, you know, not myself, of course, but I'm great, Nick, I'm an athlete.
Of course,
I don't know if you noticed.
No,
but anyway, so Johnny Tresize came up and he said, in the end I went, oh, God, I give up. And he said, John Tresize, and I felt really sick about it because, you know, sometimes people change. I haven't seen him for 25 years.
And he was there when you were there?
Yeah, sure. But it's all good fun, you know.
I know we've got to get out of here.
Tell me about the current players.
You mentioned Dale Thomas.
Yeah.
Dale Thomas, this is my observation about Dale Thomas on the night, that all the past players were there and it was a night to catch up. Dale Thomas, the 15 or 20 minutes where I just kind of watched them without being creepy about it, I just sort of sat back and watched them for a while. He was in the middle of it all. Had a quiet beer in his hand and was getting photos of himself with past players and was engaging, and he was gregarious, and he was the link between the current day players and the previous players. And if our playing group's being criticised for one thing, it is being a little introverted. And I think Dale Thomas, once he gets a bit of fitness behind him, I think he's going to become a really important player at our club as we search to become the type of Carlton team that you would have played at, and so many of the great Carlton teams played like, the kind of characters that were imbued in all of those Carlton teams.
Yeah, I think Sam Doherty too.
Yep.
I'd like to have a good talk to him because I couldn't understand a word he said. But anyway, we'll move on from there.
It was a great night, and everybody in the club should be very, very proud of what they were able to achieve. That's it for episode 7. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for our next instalment of The Blueprint later this week. And go Blues.